Alright, we're going to talk about Quarantine for 3DO. With a title like Quarantine, I didn't know what to expect. Makes me think of a shitty horror movie. Oh, right. Much to my surprise, it's an action game in the same vein as Twisted Metal. In fact, it feels like a cross between Twisted Metal and Crazy Taxi. That's an awesome concept. I love both games. It certainly has potential. Can Quarantine live up to it? Let's find out. The story's nothing new. Takes place in the future, Chemo City 2048 to be precise, with hover cars and a crime rate that's out of control. A corporation builds a wall around the city trying to contain the madness. It then becomes a prison. The evil corporation creates a virus to eliminate violent behavior, but it mutates, of course, and makes half the population even crazier. Damn you, Omni Consumer Products, or Omnicorp, whatever the fuck your name is. So you play as Drake Edgewater, a lowly cab driver desperate to escape this cursed city. Watching the opening cinematic, I get the impression he led a reasonably happy life before the dark times. A wife, kids, a dog, the whole nine. Now there's no wife and kids, no dog, and no future. He just wants out. Like so many games, the story's a hodgepodge of various film plots like Mad Max, Escape from New York, and Blade Runner. Regardless, it's kinda cool. The cutscene is above average for the era. I mean, it's well acted for the most part. Photography's on point, complemented by the editing. This brief sequence actually serves our hero and evokes feelings of loss, hopelessness, and insanity. It's fucking nuts. Did he just hit a dog? What the fuck? Really, this could be a credit sequence for a Roger Corman film. As for the game itself, it does little to explain the actual gameplay. This is where instructions come in handy. You start out with $10, no armor, and no weapons other than these machine guns that do little damage. They don't look as if they're hitting anything half the time. I may as well be throwing rocks, but whatever. Unlike Twisted Metal, you won't find weapons or ammunition on the street. Instead, you gotta hunt down these weapons bays peppered throughout the map. Here you can replenish your arms cache or purchase more advanced weaponry. We've got missiles, this fire-belching thing, and this gnarly circular saw. Fucking rad. There's repair bays as well where you can invest in some armor, which is essential in later levels. Now, before indulging your need for retail therapy, you'll need a fuck of a lot more than $10. Yes, it's time to get your Uber on and make some cash. Like I said, it's a lot like Crazy Taxi, minus the glowing dollar signs that make potential clients easier to spot. Instead, you'll hear someone cry out for a taxi or whistle. They'll tell you some horseshit about a rodeo across town or how you gotta drop off some compact discs at the mall. I like that it says compact discs, like we don't know what a fucking CD is. That's legitimately funny. Oddly enough, you can deny the fare. Doesn't make much sense to me since you need to earn in order to progress. I'll go into more detail on that later. You're given a time limit of sorts. If you should get your passenger to their destination early, you'll earn a sweet bonus on top of the fare. Getting there won't be easy though. You've got other cars crashing into you, shooting at you, not to mention those fucking pedestrians. I must say, running people down never gets old. It's like maximum overdrive ridiculous. Shit, I think I just wasted Mark Mothersbaugh. Devo, okay? He's from Devo. That's the game in a nutshell. Now, much of this I figured out on my own. I bought my copy without instructions and I didn't think to go online until much later. For the longest time, I thought this was the whole game, just this one map. You'll eventually pick up someone connected to the underground. If you perform well, they'll give you more work. Once you've proven yourself, you get a code. How does it work? You gotta find an exit bay, enter the code, then make your way through some tunnel, sit on a lift, and there you have it. Welcome to the park, or Old Town Chemo. I didn't earn these codes, mind you. I went to game FAQs. Why? Put bluntly, Quarantine's far too dull and irritating to make such an endeavor worthwhile. Driving isn't terribly fun. Seeing as how all you do is drive, I'd say that's a serious problem. The frame rate's really choppy, making me feel as if my cab tops out at 25 miles per hour. I mean, does it look like I've put the pedal to the floor? It should, because I did. Adding insult to injury, the hit detection's awful. Clipping a wall brings the cab to a dead stop. A light scrape may as well be a head-on collision, which brings me to our fellow motorists. Whenever you hit a car, no matter how fast you're going, it will either send you sliding out of control or spinning out of control. That spin cycle nonsense is especially annoying because I have no choice but to watch it for however long it takes. I can't fucking move until it comes to a stop. I mean, look at this. I just left the shop, then bam! Blowing shit up eases the pain somewhat, though not by much. Part of the problem here is that your weapons don't always register. I had these two dead to fucking rights, yet my missiles flew right by them. Beautiful. If these flaws had been addressed, I'd be more accepting of the graphics. Cars and drones are comprised of multi-sided sprites, much like T-Mech on 32X. This wouldn't bother me so much if the animation were smoother, but it's not. The levels are kinda dull and lifeless. No ramps or hills, just flat shaded surface streets. The park sucks harder than a porn star, seemingly endless rows of lights and trees, all of which you can rip through without so much as a dent in the fender. They could have done so much more with this. I mean, why aren't there any bums huddled around a flaming oil drum or bicyclists? I don't mean to be hypercritical, but, forget it. As for the music, it's 90s alternative rock and death metal. Not bad though, nothing special. Shame they couldn't use Nine Inch Nails or Korn. Seriously, which would you prefer? This? Or this? Fucking A right. Quarantine is not unplayable. It's certainly not the worst game for 3DO, not by a long shot. I'm sure some players can look past its flaws and enjoy the game for what it is. For me, I'd rather just play Twisted Metal.